Alright, so now that this Summer 6 event has been out for a few days, and I've kind of gotten the hang of the mechanics, I thought I'd go ahead and drop the event guide for those of you guys that are playing over on the JP version, or for you NA players that kind of want to know what's going on with this event. And honestly, when it comes to summer events, this probably has the most tame gimmick out of all of them. It's really just revolving around, going on treasure hunts. Honestly, when the live stream came out, I thought it was going to be like some Pokemon meme that they were doing, because Achilles has Tarask on his shoulder, and then Okita also has like the mini Okita, and I was like, oh, so everybody's gonna have like some mini partner during the event, and maybe that's what it'll shape out to be, because I mean the story's not done for the event, but as far as mechanics go, it really is just very tame. It's just based around getting all these like treasure chests and everything. It's much simpler than a lot of the other past summer events, and I mean, I guess I'll take that. I don't want to have to deal with a lot of the stress of some of the other summer events, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. If you enjoy FGO content, I upload these videos every single day, and all I ask for in return is a like on the video and a subscribe to the channel. But if you're feeling extra feisty and you want to go that extra mile in showing your support, you can click that join button and become a channel member. So let's just go ahead and talk about this event. So it's almost like, in my eyes, kind of like a mini lotto event, because it's based around you get these treasure maps during the event, and you use that to progress through the story. You go find more treasure, and then as you find these little treasure chests, you basically use them for these mini lottos over here, right? And you can see that there's pretty decent items in here, although unlike the normal lotteries, there's not like mana prisms, QP, or anything else in that. In fact, you actually get a lot of that from these point rewards over here, which thankfully is not too insane. Like, I have a little bit of PTSD from Summer 3 having 3 1 million point ladders, and this doesn't seem like it's as bad as that. But yeah, really, you just kind of like roll these miniature lottos with these little treasure chests that you get, and then if you wanted to get QP and experience cards and stuff like that, you actually can get that through the point rewards over here. Also, something to note, I believe this is actually the first event, if you go to the event shop, where they actually have all of these like 3 experience types, right? You have like the 5 stars now alongside the 4 and the 3 stars as well. So this should actually help out people that are kind of struggling to farm EXP, because not only have they rolled out the new free quest, not the free quest, but the new daily quest, I guess is what I would call them, where they have the 5-star drops for those. It looks like they're going to start putting these in the event shops as well, so we can actually purchase them very consistently, which that is very, very good. So on top of like that being a very simple mechanic for a summer event, I mean, Summer 1 is literally like you have to build the island, right? Which I thought was really fun. But it's like you have to build this entire island by gathering resources, right? Summer 2, the gimmick is like the more of like a certain card type you use, the more you boost one of the racers in the event, right? And it's like you get different rewards depending on who wins the race. That one wasn't that complicated, but I know it did cause people to stress out a bit, because they were like, I gotta have the Salter Nero team win or something, so people were just gassing up their favorite, their pair for the race, right? Then you have Summer 3, which the whole gimmick was you're not gonna have fun. The whole thing of Summer 3 was there is no fun allowed, because there are 3 1 million event ladders, and they were like, yeah, good luck. I hope you're having fun, dude. Summer 4, really, I think, is probably one of the better summer events as well, alongside this one. This one looks like it's going to shape up to being very good, because Summer 4 is just like, hey, do you have a little bit of QP? Okay, you're going to get real rich off QP if you play the event right. And then you have Summer 5, which, I mean, Summer 5 is more by the books as far as it goes by just normal events. It's just there's 2 event maps. It's like similar to CCC or something in that, where there's numerous maps, but, there's nothing insane. Like, there's no mechanic that's really super specific to that outside of, oh, there's the daytime map, and then there's the spooky, scary nighttime map, right? Then you have this, which is just like, hey, let's give them like kind of a normal event. And I can very much appreciate that, but there's nothing really too difficult about that. I do want to kind of talk about some of the, like event bonus, and then, some of the things you can get in the event. Like, for instance, the free-to-play CE this time around, not really looking like it's going to be the best. It's nice, it's neat that they give you like, ooh, we're gonna give the resistance to critical attacks on these, CEs now. That's kind of neat, but a lot of times they start experimenting out with new effects on CEs and stuff like this, usually sometimes they're not the best. They're very hit or miss, right? It's like when they started putting out CEs with Overcharge, right? They started off with Demonic Bodhisattva, but they slapped on 50% starting gauge, or 50 to 60%, I should say, depending on limit break or not. But they slapped that on there because they were like, is giving people free overcharge going to be good? Turns out, yeah, it's pretty good, but, You should probably just made this a 50% starting CE, dude, instead of the 5% per turn, because I don't really know very many people that actually use stuff like this. Like, unironically, like, I don't know very many people that are like, yeah, I just slap on the 5% every single turn, when you could just put on... I mean, there are so many CEs that give you, like, 50% starting gauge and then also give you NP damage, free-to-play and non-free-to-play as well. It's just, like, one of the more common combinations in the game, so I don't really think this is going to be helping out anybody as far as free-to-play CEs go. I'm a little worried, though, because when I looked at the CE, I was like, I don't know what that tentacle is doing, man. It's a little sus for me, dude. I don't know what's going on there, so I'm a little worried for Van Gogh's safety when it comes to that. So I don't know how I feel about that CE. Then we want to look at the event bonus servants, because I think that always is very important to look at, because that's going to basically determine how hard it's going to be to farm this event. And thankfully, they came out and they were like, okay, Okita Alter, I guess Okita Alter Saber, whatever I want to call her. It's like, okay, she's very good looping quick.jpg servant, so she's going to have 100% damage bonus, so she's going to make this very easy to farm. Vitch is on, you know, the farming thing for this, which it's kind of interesting because we look at a lot of these, like, damage bonuses, and Vitch coming out and making people capable of buster looping has kind of changed the game a lot, because this was really important, especially for the arts and quick servants, because they got the extra damage buff, so they could actually have an easier time looping in some of the events. But now Vitch is just like, what if we just do big ooga booga damage and we don't care about looping? And just having the extra damage just basically guarantees that anybody that's a buster servant that is like a 50% battery will be able to farm whatever they want in the event. So do keep that in mind, but that's also why not a whole lot of like 50% buster event servants here, right? Like you have like Drake. So if you have Drake and you have Vitch, you might actually just be cooking in this event, because that extra 30% extra damage mod should actually allow you to farm through some neutral waves as well, because you're getting that extra damage. But then just kind of looking through here, like you have people like Tomoe Saber, who's pretty good for looping. You have Emiya, who's pretty good. You have Vitra. Like there's some pretty good notable looping servants here. Musashi going on the damage bonus is going to help her out a lot when it comes to looping as well. Hokusai going on there, very, very solid servants. So like in this event, if you're looking forward for like the next about 2 years on NA, there are some very good, like, oh yeah, John Archer, I just forgot to even mention her. Yeah, you have very powerful servants for looping this event, especially if you're an arts player, dude. Like, dude, you have Lambda over here, bro. It's just, you have Mordred. It's insane. Like, if you have Castoria, or even if you have Castoria and like a Nero Bride or a Paracelsus, or just anybody else that can give them a little bit of NP gain or a little bit of battery, a Waver who's gonna have, by this point, Waver will have been out twice with the 5-star ticket, so you should at least have a Waver, whatever servant, then Castoria friend set up. You could definitely loop a lot of the stuff very easily. You know, it's not looking like this event's going to be very hard. Then we come down to the command codes, and nothing really too crazy here, right? Like, this is just a very basic good effect, where it's just like, hey, you know, you click this card, you're getting some extra crit damage. Like, there's nothing a little complex about that. There's no hidden meme that you gotta decipher to figure out how to make it good. It's just like, do you like doing crits? All right, good. We'll just slap this on somebody that's a crit servant. Or if you want to be like, you want to try to be big brain, you slap it on someone like Merlin or something, right? And you're like, oh, Merlin attacked with this arts card and he gave them extra crit damage, right? So you can either just put it on your DPS servant if you want them to crit more, or you could slap it on your support servants. Then, you know, whenever you get Merlin's arts card, he gives everybody extra crit damage for, you know, one time. That is the nice thing, is that it applies to them for one time, so you actually do get to make the use out of it. This one, 2 extra stars, probably not the craziest thing. I do like this. The defense of, like, the removing of that can be kind of useful if you already know about it going into it. Like, if you already know you're going to be fighting, I don't know, like a MASH boss, or you're going to be fighting Siegfried for whatever reason. Like, just these units that give themselves a defensive buff, or someone like Leonidas, although that fight's kind of long gone on the JP version. So unless they bring that back for like a 3rd time, I mean, this could be useful for something like that. You know, people that just stack a lot of defense and it just gets really annoying. So I guess it is useful for that. There is the Demeter fight. If you are on JP, because this only requires you to have finished Fuyuki to get through this event. If you have not gotten through Lost Belt 5, and for whatever reason, if Summer 6 comes around and you're an NA player and you have not finished Lost Belt 5.2, the Demeter fight is very annoying because she keeps stacking up her defense. Same thing for the 5.5, the K-pop guy, the K-pop swordsman. I forget his name. It escapes me, but that guy, you guys know who I'm talking about, Mr. Flameboy over there. He also likes to stack his defense during the Lost Belt 5.5 fight, and so having a way to remove his defense actually can be pretty nice for those. You could slap these on your archer servant and bring them to that fight to make it just that much easier. And then, come on, bro, like one crit star and a little bit of curse damage. I mean, sure, slap it on Van Gogh or Doman and call it a day. But I don't think that's going to be very generally useful unless you have those very specific servants. But outside of that, it just looks like it's going to be a very easy, mellow event. You know, I've been playing it for a few days. I was being really stupid for a little bit. I was like, why can't I progress in the story? Why can't I get through the story? And it's like, you have to buy the treasure maps to get the treasure, which progresses the story. So if you're playing the game on JP and, you're not a native Japanese speaker like me, and you're just like, oh, I kind of have to just figure things out as I go along. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You just got to pick up a lot of the treasure maps. You go find the treasure chest. You roll the treasure gacha, or like the treasure lottery, I guess if that's what you want to call it. You do that, and you slowly progress through the event. It's not too difficult. It's very, very mellow. And then you also get Da Vinci Ruler out of it, who I think is probably one of the better, like, free-to-play buffing servants. As I said in her video, she's basically like just a throw-in to any team comp, right? Like if let's say you don't have Scotty like me, you can toss Da Vinci as like your pseudo Scotty, because she's going to still be giving the alt type card buff, right? Which means she's good with anybody, right? Everybody will appreciate having that for 3 turns. Then she gives a small battery, which anybody wants. NP gain, which is very good. Everybody wants that. And then she's buffing their NP damage, which means she's double buffing their offensive abilities, and then giving them overcharge, which generally is pretty good. Generally, a lot of like offensive servants that she's going to be buffing, the overcharge is like lowering defense, lowering, resistance to a certain card type, giving themselves another card buff, like getting like a 20% quick damage buff and buffing that up to like 25%. NP damage buff, attack buff, dropping stars, just something along those lines. Generally, the overcharge is pretty decent, unless you have, a servant that they were just like, we're just going to nerf this servant a little bit, and we're just going to have them lower, like, enemy critical attack chance. And you're just like, that's probably one of the worst overcharges you could have given this unit, because it just gives me no incentive at all to go for that overcharge. So, giving all of that, and then her NP, even though it's offensive, still manages to be a support NP, because it either is going to drop 30 stars, charge your NP by 20%, or give you a 20% attack buff for 3 turns. So, very, very solid. I highly recommend that if you are on the JP version of this game, you make sure you get this event done, as soon as you possibly can. We're already a few days into it. It's not too late to start. Come on, like, just get in a good groove. Make sure you're doing things. It doesn't look like it's going to be super grind intensive, so it's not like, oh man, it's summer 3. If I start too late, there's no way I can possibly get through all of the ladders, unless I actually just quite literally play the game for 24 hours straight, which, it doesn't really look like you're going to have that fear when it comes to Summer 6, but just make sure you start now, so that way you don't have to, like, backload a lot of it towards, like, the last few days of the event. Just make sure you do it. You just consistently play the event just a little bit here and there. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think about Summer 6. I'm pretty high on the event. I think it's just a very nice, chill, mellow event. Nothing really too difficult to get through this. And you get a very powerful free-to-play support type servant. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late guys.